The apparition of the Mother of God with angels in Kiev of Ukraine on the cathedral walls. It's a mural, as we can see. Unexplained gestures of the infant God, Jesus Christ, which remain unsolved. An amazing phenomenon occurred in Kiev where the Mother of God appeared on the walls of the cathedral. She was accompanied by angels and the baby Jesus making an unusual gesture. What it was and when, we will tell further. In the second half of the 19th century, educated people absorbed in rationalist ideas treated miracles with caution and skepticism. The only exceptions were studies of so-called spiritual phenomena. The legends that arose among the faithful remained unnoticed. And as a result, one of the most important miracles of Kiev at the time, the appearance of the Mother of God to the builders of the Vladimir Cathedral, remained without proper dissemination, despite the fact that it was not ordinary people who witnessed this, but reflected in a wonderful work of art. And here we have the angels surrounding the Mother of God and baby Jesus. Now, Adrian Prakov, a professor of art history who supervised the painting of the cathedral, and A. Bogarten, vice governor and chairman of the Commission for the Construction of the Cathedral, did not have a good relationship with each other. They were neither friends nor close companions, which ruled out the possibility of their secret collusion. On January 4th, 1885, they both gathered in the vestibule of the cathedral to inspect the walls being prepared for painting. Upon entering the temple, they witnessed the following events in a document on a separate sheet of paper taken from the professor's file. The document reads this: On January 4, 1885, having arrived at the Vladimir Cathedral for various reasons, we, the undersigned, stopped near the entrance doors, talking about the decoration of the main altar. And this is a Platitera icon of the Mother of God, which is in the Holy of Holies. She's always there. You can even see that in the Church of Holy Wisdom in the Cathedral of Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, today Istanbul. So on January 4th, 1885, having arrived at the Vladimir Cathedral, we stopped near the entrance door, talking about the decoration of the main altar. And then, after the silence during which each of us looked at the altar wall, we first began incredulously to check with each other that what each of us seemed to see on that wall, and then confessed to each other that what we saw upon it, the image here written, a drawing is appended to the text formed of plaster stains. The chairman of the Cathedral Construction Committee, Vice Governor Bogarten, professor of St. Petersburg University, Adrian Prakov. Prakov's sketch shows a full-length figure of the Virgin Mary holding the child Christ in her arms, with arms stretched forward. The meaning of this gesture remains mystery. Could it be a summons? Well, yeah, we see many icons like this with the baby Jesus, or even Jesus fully grown with his arms stretched out as if he's ready to embrace us in a huge, beautiful hug. So Prakov's sketch shows a full-length figure of the Virgin Mary holding the child Christ in her arms with arms stretched forward. The meaning of this gesture remains a mystery. Could it be a summons, a blessing, or perhaps a warning? Around the icon, the Mother of God, the organizers of the church also noticed angels following her and worshiping in worship. Both Prakov and Baumgarten were convinced that they had seen a miraculous sign and did not hide their impressions from those around them. Rumors spread in the city that the Most Holy Theotokos, the Mother of God, appeared in the newly consecrated church and indicated how her icon should be made. The intelligentsia was skeptical about the story and preferred to keep quiet about it, especially considering that people with established authority were involved in the events. Only a few months later, June 28, 1885, the editors of Kiev Linanin dared to give their explanation of the incident. The newspaper report said that during construction, Stains often appeared due to uneven drying of the plaster, which could overheat imagination to see non-existent images. Journalists claim that no miracle happened in the cathedral and the figure of the Virgin Mary was only an illusion seen by the builders. But this was only the case of the journalists and nothing more. And Professor Prakov did not share the view of the journalists. Despite his lack of particular religious devotion, he made every effort to ensure that the Virgin Mary in the cathedral frescoes was depicted exactly as in his 1885 sketch. An obstacle to this realization arose in the form of a round, arched window located at the bottom of the now existing image. The window was closed. In the place of the arch where the icon of the Virgin and the Child appeared, as noted by Professor Petrov, it was supposed to write the sign of the Mother of God, but Prakov, using the right guaranteed to him by the Ministry of Internal Affairs to independently determine the sacred images, he insisted himself. As a result, the central position in the temple saved for another image. In March 1885, the professor entered into a contractual relationship with Viktor Vasnetsov regarding the design of the walls of the cathedral, that is, the icons that would be placed there. In September of the same year, the artist submitted his painting plans for the central part of the temple to the commission managing the construction. The design he presented for the altar wall surprisingly coincided with Prakov's sketch. Thus, the initially indistinct image of the Mother of God, which unexpectedly appeared on the walls of the church immediately after the plastering work was completed, thanks to Prakov's indestructible trust in divine revelation, was incorporated into the arch of the cathedral and continues to amaze believers with his mysterious gesture, which can be interpreted as a warning or as a blessing. However, one should not assume that the professor imposed his vision on the artist. Rather, there is reason to believe that Viktor Vasnetsov saw the image of the Mother and Child earlier than Prakov and Baumgarten did. The origin of this extraordinary image occurred in 1871 when the artist created a miniature of Virgin Mary and gave it to the wife of his philanthropist Sava Mamondov. He placed this icon in an elegant icon stand next to the iconostasis in the Abramsetov church. After concluding a contract with Prakov, Vasnetsov returned to the image that visited him in 1871 and embodied it on the scale of monumental art, according to a centuries-old family tradition. Vasnetsov painted the face of the child Christ in Vladimir Cathedral based on the sketch by his son Michael, who later became a priest. Viktor Mikhailovich Vasnetsov recalled how one spring his wife Alexandra Vladimirova took their baby Michael outside for the first time, and at that moment a miracle happened. The child, being in his mother's arms, instinctively repeated the gesture that the father had once imagined. Seeing clouds floating in the blue sky and birds flying in the air, he waved his hands in joy as if trying to embrace and press to his heart everything new and amazing he was seeing for the first time. Thus the artist himself explained the symbolic gesture of the hands of the infant God, which not everyone can understand, quoting Professor Petrov, although this gesture was not characteristic of traditional iconography. The icon of Our Lady of Vasnetsov was a huge success. Over time, the picturesque complex of the cathedral became the model by which churches were painted both in Kiev itself and far beyond its borders. The ceremonial consecration of Vladimir Cathedral took place August 20th, 1896, in the presence of Emperor Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra Fedorovna. People call this incident Miracles of the Mother of God of Vasnetsov. Thank God for everything. And this I've translated from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.